sharing knowledge that empowers children and young people to understand the steps they can take to reduce their risks, increase their resilience to mental health problems, and improve their mental health.
Our vision is to create a world with a sound mental health for all. Now, we are starting a new series called Parent-Adolescents Relationship. What are adolescents? Adolescents are young people aged 10 to 21 years. And why are we doing this series? We are doing this series because we want to build in the community that understands how parenting can affect someone's future, someone's academic, someone's career choices, and someone's role in the community. Greetings to you all. Welcome to our show, Check In.
I have 4 parenting styles. Okay. The first one is what we call the authoritarian parenting style.
They'll be angry with their parents, but they cannot show their parents the anger, so they end up showing the anger to their peers or their friends who they play with, to drink alcohol. And also these adolescents, they are more prone to mental health issues, because at home what the parent says is what should be done. So for instance, if the child gets pregnant, right, they'll be stressed, they don't even know how to talk to. So the second thought is what? To commit suicide.
So it's more or less like a command that goes hand in hand with a punishment if you do not perform as you're supposed to perform. So it's more or less like puppeteer. It's the child being the puppet and then maybe the parent being the controller. So
anything party, think party karate. And as Party Karate, we provide you with nothing but the best services that you can rely on. Leave all your party management and all your corporate events in our hands today. Our wide range of products include helium balloons, toys, candy gifts, jumping castles, candy floss, popcorn machines, stretch tents, and just to mention a few. Visit us today. Anything party, think party, karate.
Hello everyone, welcome to our show, Check In. This is your host, Tawanda Mreba, and we are still continuing with our series, Parent-Adolescents Relationship. And today we are going to discuss about communication. So to begin with, I would like to introduce you to our guest today. We are going to start with, from my left side up to there. So you can start introducing yourself.
Thank you, Tawanda. My name is Noria Mandaza. I'm a community development and public health practitioner, and I'm coming from PYGM organization.
Hi, Tawanda. I'm Dr. Olga Nell. I'm a clinical and school psychologist in private practice, and I'm also a lecturer at the University of Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Doc.
Hi, Tawanda. Thank you for having me. I'm Robin Borozengwe. I'm a psychology degree graduate and also a volunteer at Africa Healing Foundation.
Thank you, Roimbo. Okay, so before we go into detail, we would want to know, our listener would want to know what is communication. So, Roimbo, can you briefly explain what is communication?
All right. So communication is the exchange of information from one person to the other. And it's basically just sharing information with the hope or the intention of people actually having a conversation, listening or reacting towards whatever has been said. Yeah.
Okay, so what is the difference between communication and effective communication?
So effective communication now, it's when a person has the intention of relating information to a certain somebody and hoping that that someone understands the information. Because with basic communication, I could tell you something and then you could not listen. Or you could just go like, okay, it's fine. But then with effective communication, I need you to understand what it is that I'm saying so that you have a clear picture of whatever it is I'm trying to relate to you.
Okay, so communication play a big role in parent-adolescent relationship because it's all about communication.
Exactly.
And it's, so now we want to know what are the barriers to effective communication between parent and adolescent relationships.
Okay, so I usually love to make it simpler. I call it PCC, parent-to-child communication. Okay. So with this kind of communication, we have already a position of authority, who is the parent, and then the child who happens to be the person who has to listen. right? Most of the times. So with barriers, there comes a situation where there are a few number of barriers actually. And then, as I was saying, with barriers, there is a situation at which time itself can be a barrier. There is also a situation where language itself can be a barrier, culture, gender, generational gaps, space, or even the inability to listen. So when we're talking about time, we're talking about a situation where Tawanda, your mom tells you, Tawanda, I want you to give me a report about how your day went. Let's say she says that at 6 a.m., right? You come back at 10. Let's consider that she had a busy day. She's sleeping. Are you going to be able to relate everything and have her listen, effectively understand what it is that you're trying to say? There's also a situation where Tawanda is at a wedding and I want to tell you someone got hurt, right? Am I going to relate the information to you in a way you're going to understand because I did not consider the time? So in times, there is the actual practicality of this is 11 p.m., this is 12 p.m. And then there's also the other explanation as in it's a time where people were having fun, it's a time where people were not serious, or it's a time where people were doing something. So it's more or less like you going to a bridge, finding youth smoking drugs, and then you say, oh, God is good. Are they going to listen? They won't listen.
Exactly. Okay. So maybe to catch it there, Dr. Why is it time a barrier to communication? To add on maybe to what she has just said.
Well, because I think we must consider where each person who's communicating is at in that moment. Like you've just said, remember, you can't relay certain information, and also how you relate that information is really important. So I always say to teenagers, you want more freedom, or you want to go and do something, and then you jump on your parents when they get home tired from work, going, Mommy, can I go out? Can I go out? Can I go out? And, what is the likely response you're going to get? It's like, yeah, get out. But if you look at your timing, perhaps you make your parents a cup of tea, everybody's more relaxed, and then you approach the subject in a calm way, you're more likely to be successful in your outcomes.
Okay, thank you, Doc. All right, so back to you again, remember, you mentioned something to do with language.
Yes.
Why is it language a barrier?
So language is a barrier in terms of like we're communicating, right?
Yes.
Basically use language. So if I come to you and say, Tawanda ngifuna ukuthi ungithathele ama-keys. You didn't hear what I said, but I just basically say, Tawanda, I want you to get keys for me. So if you do not use a language that is understandable to the next party, they're not going to understand whatever it is that you're saying. If someone says something in a different language, I am most bound going to just say, okay, so that I don't get more into detail with it. So if a parent comes, or you, Tawanda, or I go to my mom, and I go like, Sichas wasn't allowing me to go home. I use colloquial language for situation and said Sichas. Most probably my parent won't even understand.
Exactly.
And then with language then also comes level of respect. It reflects on how respectful you are. Because if you go and use colloquial language with your parent, it means you're trying to take them to friendship level. And most probably it goes again to time. What time did you say it? Were your parents happy and jolly when you said, oh, this is what happened? So then language at times goes on to play a very important role, because for us to actually even communicate, we need to use language that is understandable and language that is universal. Yes. Okay,
Noria, do you have anything to add on, especially on language, on how it affects or how it became a barrier to communication between parent-adolescent relationship?
Okay, like Jumbo said, language can hinder effective communications. Because talking, communication is all about talking, language. It might not be really verbal talking, it could be body language, it could be sign language. So if you can't understand the common language, then obviously the communication will be what hindered. But I wanted to add on culture. Culture again can be a barrier to effective communication. Where I'm coming from some rural areas where we have an organization. You'll find there are protocols that need to be observed. Even if you have vital information to disseminate, you need to go through protocols, chiefs, village heads. So you need to observe the culture. of that environment for you, in order for your information to be passed down very well. Or even space again. I feel space again, if you do not respect environment or space to communicate whatever you want to communicate with your child, it might also hinder your communication process. Because you'll find if you don't consider the environment and you just address your child in front of his or her friends, then he or she won't be able to get what you're trying to say, even if you were right in saying something that you were saying. But you need to consider that there's a right space, right environment for you to convey your message.
Okay. Thank you so much for highlighting that one. Back to you, Rubimbo. You said something to do with inability to listen as a barrier to effective communication.
Yes, thank you. So basically, when we're talking about communication has 3 stages. A person talks, information moves. A person listens, responds.
Exactly.
So at times you find there's what we call active listening, right? Active listening is me saying yes, Tawanda, I'm looking at you, nodding, most probably understanding what you're saying because I am I'm in sync with what you're saying. And then there's passive listening, where I used to do it when I was in my chemistry lesson. I'll just look at the guy and would just go like, zinc and what adds to this, and I'll be like, okay. He asked me, I heard zinc. I didn't understand what was going on with zinc because it was passive listening. So there are some people who actually have the inability to listen properly to what it is that you're saying. Most probably because of the emotions that they have that are internal. Maybe I don't like you. So whatever you say automatically doesn't count to me. Or I cannot sit down, or maybe I have a condition that I have. I have anxiety, or maybe I'm just way too active. I can't sit in one place and listen to you. Or maybe the way you're conveying your message may be monotonous and boring, or you're not using the elaborate hands. I love using my hands a lot. I love, giving gestures and saying a lot of stuff. So when a person's not using hands, I cannot connect with the person.
Oh.
So usually when parents
So you're not connecting with us right now because you're not
no,
using
you did use your hands and you did use your head. So for parents who are a bit strict or on the bit punitive side, the ones that repeat a lot, when they say I said, then I'm afraid most probably they're about to pounce on me. So you don't listen because you're busy gauging. Are they going to fight me? Are they going to slap me? Are they going to do this? So listening then goes hand in hand with what the person who's saying something is doing. Are they saying it in a loving manner? Are they saying it in a very harsh way? Are they actually making it possible for me to listen and then think? Because there are moments when they say, I told you to wash dishes. What did you do? They expect me to give a response, or they do not expect me to give a response. So I don't know if I'm supposed to nod my head and say I'm sorry. Because the way it has been said is hard for me to listen and give a response at the same time. So listening plays a big role because you cannot communicate if you're not listening.
Okay. Dr. Neil, do you have anything to add on inability to listen as an effect?
That was a great explanation. But also I think we have to be careful how we send and receive messages, because we have what we call double binds, which we say one thing, but our body language, our tone of voice, everything else conveys a completely different message. And it's easy to do. And with listening as well, at times parents are stressed and worried. And if a teen, we're talking about adolescents, goes on and on and on, and you don't know if those parents are able to actually find a quiet space to truly focus on what their teens are saying.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add on this thing?
I just wanted to understand. So, Ruby, basically what you're saying is there's a difference between listening and hearing.
Yes.
So when you're having a listening ear, it's like you want to understand.
You want to understand.
Then it's one different thing from just hearing. It goes in.
Yes, and then it comes out.
Of which I think that's where we are having a challenge with our teenagers.
That's so true.
We think they are listening, whereas they are hearing.
Exactly.
All because of those factors that you have mentioned. If you fail to convey the message, then probably they'll just hear you.
Okay, and there need to be a barrier to communication. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So move on to our next question is, how can you then build trust and confidence? To you, Noria, how can you build trust and confidence?
All right. You'll find that trust is very essential in building confidence or in raising our children. So you'll find that, as Stephen Covey said, trust is the glue of life. So the definition can be, trust is the willingness to be vulnerable to the action of others. So you are trusting, you are giving all your confidence, you trusting the other person that whatever their motives or their intentions is for your own good, they'll safeguard your well-being. So basically that's how trust can be defined. So you'll find that for us to build trust and confidence in our adolescents, so that we can have that healthy parent-adolescent relationship, there are factors that need to be considered. There are so many factors, but I'll just explain some of them. One of them is you need to practice what you preach. If when you're a leader, you need to lead by example. So you want your child not to smoke, but maybe smoke in front of them, then it becomes confusing to them. So you really need to be a very good example to them, because listening again from our previous present is different from seeing someone doing it. So it's more powerful to see a good example than to listen. Then another factor that can help us to build trust and confidence in our children is consistency. We need to be consistent with our standards or with our rules. If we set rules at home, you say bedtime is 8 p.m., then it needs to be consistent. Not that today I'm lenient, today you sleep at 12. Not that I'm saying that you should give them a nice time during weekends, but it has to be consistent. If it's Monday to Friday, it's 8 p.m. because of school tomorrow, then it has to be that. This will help your children to have trust in you, that you are someone firm and you stick to what? To your standards.
Okay, so maybe I need to hold you there. Doc, do you have anything to add on from what she has just said?
But I'm really delighted that Nuria mentioned that children learn by modeling. So you have to set that example. More than words, and that's your hearing and listening. They learn by copying what they see. That's how we learn as human beings. And I think, therefore, I'm glad you brought it up because it's so important. You cannot tell your child to do or not to do something if you yourself are doing it. It's just not going to gel at all.
You can't tell your child to stop smoking if you are smoking.
Exactly. I always tell parents, when we have talks for parents, parenting talks, you cannot tell your child you cannot drink or get drunk, and then your house is full of drinks and they see you drinking and getting drunk with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Ravin, do you have anything to add on from what you said?
I can just basically add this statement: seeing is believing. What you see is what you believe. So if you say don't drink, but I see you drinking, I believe then that you're just saying it, but I believe that you're doing it because it's the right thing to do.
Anything party, think party karate. And as Party Karate, we provide you with nothing but the best services that you can rely on. Leave all your party management and all your corporate events in our hands today. Our wide range of products include helium balloons, toys, candy gifts, jumping castles, candy floss, popcorn machines, stretch tents, and just to mention a few. Visit us today. Anything party, think party, karate.